The day, man, what counts is is getting healthy for next season. being ready for next season, getting your workouts
Right.
in for next season, and
Facts.
just coming out ready to play. You know what I mean? I mean, they already, I think, a full year. They know the concept. They understand the playbook. They understand kind of, the way the coaching staff wants them to prepare. All they have to do is just do the work. So this is.
Yeah.
I don't see nothing wrong with that. Hey, he hit COVID, okay. Again, rest up any nagging injuries, man. You know what I mean?
I
So
mean, the only thing I'm a little upset about for him, even though I can't stand you know how I am already with these Brooklyn Net players. I don't care. I
right,
am a little upset for him because he was really excited because I guess he got to speak to Kevin Durant, and
to
Kevin
play with the
Durant said
stars.
they're going to work out and stuff. And unfortunately, I wish he would been able to get that experience because that only makes him better, more confident, which helps the Knicks.
But does just because he hit the he's got to work through the COVID protocols. He would still be able to play, right?
No, I don't think I don't know if he's gonna even have a chance to be a part of the mix because I think because of the way
Oh,
it happened, he has to leave the team, and so he's not a part of any of the initials practices, any of that stuff. So I guess they're just moving on. At least that's the way they
gotcha.
made it seem, which that
Okay.
sucks. But
Hey, it's always next
yeah,
year.
it is what it is. Yeah, yeah,
It's
bad
always
timing,
next year. You know what I mean? It
bad timing.
happens.
That's all it is. But other than that, I mean, honestly, when you think about the NBA Finals, as I predicted, I still think the Suns are going to win it all.
Okay.
They just look to me like the more complete team, even though I do
Hmm.
know Milwaukee smacked them the last game. But
Right.
Milwaukee's not a horrible team. They deserve to be there, and they can win on any given night. I just think that the Suns have the better overall team and can kind of keep them at bay and wind up pulling the victories out in the long run. We'll see what happens though.
While I agree with you, I am still rooting for the Milwaukee. I don't know. It
Now,
is
are
what it
you
is.
rooting for Milwaukee because you have an attachment to Milwaukee somehow, or you just you
Nah,
want Giannis to be able to win one?
it's not really because of Giannis. It's really for Brook Lopez. I think he's been kind of like
Oh,
pushed aside, and he's still a formidable center in my eyes, at
yeah,
least.
yeah.
So
No,
I would like to see
he's
him
he's
win one.
he's actually been pretty good.
He's been really well. He's played really well. But yeah, and also it's an East Coast team. So hey, if it comes to the East, they can't say, "Oh, the West is stronger." You know what I mean? Kind of. Hey, who won the title? You know what I mean? Because for the last 4 or 5 seasons, it's been the West. So um,
Hmm.
right? Has it been? It is.
Yeah,
It has. Yeah.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
recall a East team winning in the last. I think the last one was the Heat, right? When with LeBron, or was I? Am I wrong?
No, I think you may be right. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
can't
think you're
recall
right
another team that was. Yeah,
because I
because it
don't
was it
know.
was it
I
was
don't know.
Warriors and Lakers for the last 4 years, I believe.
Wait, no, no, no. Is Cleveland East? Cleveland's East, right?
Cleveland East, yeah. So Cleveland won with
No, it was
LeBron.
Cleveland because remember LeBron was with Miami and then he came
Right,
back with Cleveland. So it
right.
has to be Cleveland. I don't know. I
Yeah,
think it's
it
Cleveland.
may have to be Cleveland. Yeah, and that was against Golden State, right? No, yeah, it was
Mm,
because that was it when they were going back to back to back. Anyway,
oh,
either way,
well,
we live
yeah.
today. By the way,
Oh, we are
shout outs to
live.
everybody who's watching.
Large and in
We didn't even, we
charge
should
on the
we
screen
should be
here.
we should have been starting out by thanking everyone for tuning in, jumping on and and jumping on our show and tuning in and seeing what we have to say about this upcoming draft. And yeah, we got a few things to talk about today. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. If you're brand new, subscribe, hit the like button. Tell a friend. You know the routine.
Yes, 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 yes. Definitely appreciate all you guys, and hopefully we'll be able to go live more often so that you guys have the ability to chime in and give us your thoughts on the Knicks. Ask us any questions you're thinking about, so that way we get you guys more involved because that's where we're leading to now. This is our new purpose when it comes to the Knicks. We want to get everybody else involved, take this thing global, you know, hear from all the Knicks fans out there about what they think about this team of ours, and see where we go from there.
Yeah, I would love to have a couple of you Knicks fans, join us for a podcast. You'll be up with us on a third screen. You know what I mean? Come on as guests and just, let us hear you guys out and as we explore kind of what our potential is for this upcoming season. Like to hear from y'all. So definitely email us at, Knicks fans, still Knicks fans. Right? You can email us at stillnickfans at what is it, Gmail?
It's at Gmail, yes. Stillnickfans at gmail.com. Or you can obviously reach out to us on social media, like through Twitter at stillnickfans or on Instagram. And we look forward to hearing from all of you guys and gals.
And girls, yeah, that's right.
So speaking of the global take on things, we do have a player that is playing, and he might become a big part of the Knicks going forward. We still don't know exactly what their plans are for him, but he's looking pretty good. I mean, he's not playing a ton of minutes, but in limited minutes, he's been pretty effective. And I'm speaking of Mr. Luca Vildoza.
He's played well.
We got a little highlight clip of Mr. Vildoza doing his thing. And, one of the things I like about this guy is that, they've said he's gritty and you can kind of see it, but a lot of these highlight clips are more of his offensive prowess. So you don't get to see the grittiness on defense too much, but you can see his aggressiveness when it comes to getting his shot. He can shoot the ball from outside. He can, he's got a little mid-range too, and he's not afraid to drive. Plus, he's a pretty good passer. So he might be one of those guys that that I think that we might really strike gold with. So I'm hoping that it turns out to be that way.
I like his game. It's a bit flashy. He's got a flashy game to him.
This video that we're playing right now is of one of the draft guys that might be coming out of the draft, Corey Kispert. So he actually is one of those guys that I was looking at before, and I was thinking that in a dream scenario, the Knicks could probably move up and get him.
Right. With a trade, right?
Oh, here we go. Here's the Vildoza video. Sorry about that, folks. Here's the Vildoza video.
Almost one and the same, right? Flashy players.
yeah. You can see that, and they're both, very very good shooters. Kispert might be a better shooter, but Luka's got a pretty good touch. They said his comp is what, Pablo Prigioni?
Well, nah, not necessarily. They say he's I don't think that's what they comp him as, but I know that's his like a mentor of his. I think that's a mentor of his. I don't think that's a comp. But because Prigioni wasn't that aggressive offensively, Prigioni was more of a defensive player, not really an offensive player. He was, kind of an assist guy, can shoot the three, but not as flashy. This kid is a bit more flashy with the dribble, with the handle. And it's got good range and it has a nice, he plays the tempo game. It seems like, he can run the court. He can, switch back and forth. He's a good passer. So kid is good. I think we got something in Vildoza. Now, is he the one that we should lean on? I don't know. I think there's a lot to be seen, We'll get a glimpse of him, though, coming up soon. He'll be playing against the USA team, Argentina. I think they got a couple of games against the USA team. So, if folks want to see him play, tune in. You could probably find it on your if you have cable or streaming services. I'm sure they'll have it. You may have to look at I don't know what they play in. Is it like a NBC affiliate or something like that?
Yeah, I think the games on like an NBC. I caught one the other day on the actual NBC channel, but then they're also playing on the affiliate channels. I know you just kind of look through your local, your cable or streaming service to see which one they're actually playing on.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty entertaining. I dig when the Olympics happen and USA plays the international teams, because you see some of these players that you're used to seeing in the league representing their countries, and I think it's pretty cool. And that's what makes the competition really fun, because some of these teams have a lot of NBA players on them.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. Or former players. You have a lot of former players who,
yeah.
that still somewhat got it, or they just like stopped playing in the NBA for whatever reason and decided to probably get a better payday overseas. So there's competition, even if you're not playing in the NBA. There's a lot of competition. I mean, in the last few, I want to say on our last Olympic teams, where like Argentina was always a strong team, Spain, even Puerto Rico had a very strong team in basketball at one time. So, there's competition.
Yeah. I remember those days when Puerto Rico was getting busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm hoping that Luca, has a chance to really, get into the Tibbs sets and become a standout player, because he looks like he's got some talent. I would hate to think, because, this goes back to that thing where you get these guys that you see like, oh man, this guy can do some things. And then they come over to your team and your system and you don't even see them. Like they're not even on the court. What happened?
Well,
So
again,
I'm hoping it works out.
You have to have a summer season, right? You have to run through summer league. You have to run through what those call OTAs and stuff like that. You have to go through the process and then get into some practice games, scrimmage against your teammates, and see how you fit within the system. I think at the end of the day, for me, whomever they decide to go with at the point guard position, they need to understand the offenses that Tibbs want to run, and they have to get our key players involved, right? Like Barrett needs to get involved, and Randall needs to be involved in order for us to get anywhere far in the next couple of seasons, especially because that's where we're sticking with, right? And if we get a budding star, or we get a nice draft pick, if we move up in the draft, or if we stay at 21, depending on who we get, we'll see how they fill the void. I've said this before. Like if the Knicks feel like they have their point guard situation, then we need to fill the spots of the a small forward shooting guard, that you're not pressed to play Burks heavy minutes or Bullock's heavy minutes. You know what I mean? Like those are guys who you can utilize it at, off the bench, or, mix and match here and there. But you need a knockdown three. You need a three who's going to, relieve too much pressure from RJ Barrett, who isn't the best shooter. RJ just happens not to be the best shooter. I'm sure he's gonna progress to become one, but at this point in his career, he's not there yet. And let's see if he makes strides this upcoming season. I mean, he shot the ball pretty decent. It was still 40%, right? Or just under 40?
He was 40%, yeah.
So he didn't shoot it bad. It's just that it's somewhat inconsistent. You know what I mean?
No, but 40% for
season?
NBA players these days, is damn good.
That's good.
I mean, it is what it is, because
he just had those games. In my opinion, he just had the games. Like those specific games that we can highlight as Knicks fans. We're like, man, if he only hit, 2 or 3 of those, we get an extra win.
You're right about
series
that.
Especially,
that's without question.
The Atlanta series, especially, so, but
we'll see. It's we'll exactly, you said it. We'll see. Unfortunately, it's another interesting time, because we still got to figure out what is available to us as a team. Who are going to be the people that might fall to us where we are positioned in the draft, and or do they decide to move up? So it's going to be a whole bunch of stuff to figure out. And, speaking of that, and you bringing up RJ, I've been hearing a lot about it, and I'm sure you probably have too,
You
These
see,
trades,
I'm
man,
wearing the shirt for a reason, because he is one of our highest commodities, right?
this is true.
Hmm.
I'm so torn, dude. I don't know. I don't know if I want to get rid of RJ, man. Like
I
RJ has
don't.
been, his name is in everything, bro. And I don't know.
You got to give away something to get something. But I just think if the Knicks give away RJ Barrett, you're giving away a potential All Star. Not to say he's going to be a superstar, but I think he has the ability to become a potential All Star. And
Yeah,
regularly become
yeah,
play in All Star games. He's 20. He's young. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that you can't get with youth. You know what I mean? Like, youth, he's just gonna get older and he's gonna just get better. So, um, and I don't think you've seen his peak yet. I think you've seen um, Zion's peak. In my opinion, I think Zion, you've seen his peak. You've seen John Morant's peak. You just haven't
right.
seen RJ's peak yet. You know what I mean? So for me, and that's why teams are vying for him, because they know that he, age-wise, he's got still a lot to learn, and he's gonna just develop as a player as he continues in his career. I think the Knicks would be foolish to move on without him. I would try to figure out a way to trade other assets if I can. It may not even be to get to the top 3 or 4, but if you can get top 10, top 11, there's some guys there. You know what I mean? To be honest, they
Yeah.
saying all of the what they call those guys, the not specialists, the scouts, all of the
Analysts? Oh, the
scouts and
scouts.
analysts,
Scouts?
yeah, scouts and analysts are saying that you know this draft is supposed to be the deepest it's ever been, and you're going to see a lot of really strong players come out, especially guard play. So
Hmm.
if that's real, then I would say keep our leverage. We have all the picks. We have a lot of salary cap space. We have some leverage. And if we can make the right moves, right decisions, who knows? Maybe we can be top 9, top 10, top 11. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a shot, a chance that we can do that.
Hmm.
I think the whole tricky part is figuring out what comes first. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because one part of this whole thing is the draft,
Right.
and then you have the other scenarios where you can trade for a player. However, I think you have to decide to make a move to trade for a player ahead of time before the draft, because when the draft gets here and you use those picks, if you haven't done anything with them, it's a commodity you're taking away, because now you've drafted somebody that a team may not want.
Hmm.
So it's much better to make a trade if you're going to do it with another team and give them picks before you actually draft these selections. So
Yeah.
because of that, it goes back to the whole thing. Like, what happens to the Knicks? Do they even seriously consider? I honestly think, and I'm saying it now, I think the Damian Lillard thing is a pipe dream. I don't think Dame is going to go anywhere. I think Dame might be very upset with the way management has been doing things. They don't see eye to eye right now, but I think that's their star player, and they'll figure out a way to win him back over and get into the good graces. They got Chauncey Billups there. They just have to do something to make him happy on that team. Bring somebody in that's going to help him so that they can make their playoff run once again and try to go further. Because I don't think he's leaving. I think he's so loyal. Like, he's one of the few
Hmm.
loyal players to their team that's left. It's going to be very hard for him just to walk away. And I also think
Hmm.
that even though I would love Dame on the Knicks, the price tag for that, if
It's
they
gonna
could
be
get
high.
Dame, yeah, if they could get Dame without giving up RJ and keeping Randall, fine. But if you got to give
Hmm.
up RJ and all these picks, and you probably got to give up quickly, like, what is it's going to have Dame and Randall and a bunch of role play? Like, where are you? How's that making you so much better? I don't get it. And you're going to be tied up in salary because he's going to make like 50 million next year, and the cap. I mean, his salary goes up a couple million each year. We're talking 50 plus
Hmm.
million. That's a lot
Right.
to put into a player.
Hmm. Yeah, it kind of brings us back into the kind of Melo era a little bit, because with Melo, we
Right.
gave up pretty much our entire young core of players and then started anew. And they did a decent job trying to build, with a couple of veterans, bringing in Tyson Chandler, bringing in Stoudemire. But again, you're back to square one, and you're trying to build, kind of a competitive team. And it's very difficult to do if you don't have young players or potential draft picks to then find, a trio of sorts. You know what I mean? Because you get Dame, you need a trio of sorts in this league to be relevant. And I don't see that happening. Shout outs to Chris Long, by the way, who actually put out a question on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. And that question was regarding Dame. He basically said, "Would you guys sell everything for Dame, or do you guys want to keep building through the draft?" I think Ron, I think you may have answered that. I think in your eyes, you're building through the draft, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Knicks were better served building through the draft and free agency, but I don't know if they're best served staying pat. Their picks, their first round picks are 19 and 21, and while this draft is very deep and they might be able to get good players at 19 and 21, I think they should definitely try to move up. If they can get
Right.
somewhere around 11 or 10, I mean, I would love them to get into the top 10. But even if you get around 10 or 11, you could get a really good player. So that would be what I hope for, and still be able to
Yeah.
build with free agency.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and you may not have to get the biggest name out there, which is, of course, Dame Lillard. But if you can get a quality point guard, or a maybe an additional veteran presence to go along with Derrick Rose, then you have the ability to shore up the point guard position at least 1 or 2 years until a young budding star comes in, or maybe it becomes a Quickly who is next up, or a Vildoza, right? Because Vildoza's already signed to us. So, give them some time to have tenure and learn under the guides of, a Dame Lillard, or let's say if they make a trade for, I don't know, Mike Conley or something like that. You know what I mean? Like someone who you can share minutes with, who understands the game, is going to make the right play. Um, I don't necessarily see a move for Lonzo Ball. I know that's been thrown out there a lot. I don't see it. I don't know if he has the pedigree to make it in New York. To be honest, he's had a lot of backlash when he was, with the Pelicans, and then when he was with LA, things didn't go so well for him in LA, and so I don't know if he can handle the pressure of New York. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that, because that's the thing about yeah, the more time that's gone by, the less I'm liking Lonzo to the Knicks. At
Right.
first, I was really excited about it, but now that we're getting closer to a possibility of it happening or not happening, I've been looking at his game more, and I don't know. I don't know if he is really what they need, because his style of play is not necessarily what I think would help the rest of the team to get better. Like, he's a good
Right.
player. He's learning how to shoot. He's a pretty good defender now. But the way he moves the ball, the way he doesn't really move. He's not like his brother. LaMelo has the ball
Mm-hmm.
in his hands a lot, and he controls the pace, and he orchestrates and set. Lonzo doesn't play
Yeah.
like that, which is I'm surprised, because I thought that's who he was going to be, but he's not.
Wondering if that's the system though. You know what I mean?
It could be.
Because
It could be.
Ingram has the ball in his hands on regularly, right? He plays the point forward
Hmm.
type style, and we do too. To be honest, we play kind of that same way. When you think about Randall bringing up the ball, pushing the ball, the
Right.
only time we really don't see that is when Rose is on the court, and Rose kind of, you know, plays a true on true point guard role. We don't necessarily get that when, let's say, when Alfred Payton was running the start of the game. You would see a lot of Randall bringing the ball up and then kind of starting the offense with the ball. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't know if he can live up to all the hype. You know what I mean? That he's gotten over the years, and then the pressure in New York is like no other, right? Like they expect you to come every night, like bring it every night. You have to bring it. If you don't bring it every night, then you're a bust. You know what I mean? And that's the tough part, and that's what it seemed like. And one of the reasons I felt like Rose's decision to leave the Knicks at that time
Mm-hmm.
or not really play was because there was so much pressure and he had so much opposition from the coaching staff, right? That Jeff Hornacek wanted him to play a certain way, and he's like, "Well, why?" And so that just it didn't mesh well. So he took the choice and left after that one season, and
Right.
now he's back with Tibbs, of course, who kind of lets him play his game, and so it allows him the freedom to be who he is as a player. Not sure if Lonzo will get that opportunity though. Like you have to earn that trust from Tibbs. You know what I mean? So I don't
Yeah.
know. I guess we'll see.
I mean, I think there was some more points in the chat. Uh, um, Cornelius Thomas said in regards to Randall playing point forward. That's what he does, correct? And then it's good to have like a versatile pass shoot option because the Knicks they don't have that right now. It's kind of missing, and he believes Lonzo would help. And the thing about that is, one of the things about Lonzo is when he was in LA, he was that
Mm-hmm.
more of a. They used him more of a point
Two
guard,
guard,
point guard, shooting
spot
guard
up
type
shooter.
guy, and he had the ball in his hands a lot more, and he was told to try to orchestrate. But what I'm noticing now that he's improved his shot, I feel like he's improved his shot more now because he doesn't always have the ball in his hands. Like he can do more catch and shoot type things, and I think it's helping him with his motion. He has more time to shoot, whereas when he has the ball in his hands, the defense is already glued onto him, and he's got like a slow follow through. It takes a little while because he brings it from low up high. And I know he's quickened it a little bit, but I also feel like the fact that he doesn't have the ball in his hands and he's able to move around without it and just be ready to get the ball, receive it, and shoot. I think that's helped him a lot. And I wonder if the Knicks try to use him in more of that point forwards type role. If he has the ball more in his hands, will he go back to those bad habits of, not getting up quality shots and then not having enough time to get his shot off? Well, so that's my fear when it comes to him. Plus, he's not going to be. He's going to command a good amount of salary.
Yeah, but he won't break the bank. You know what I mean?
No, he won't.
He ain't gonna break the bank. So I mean, he'll command a decent salary. But the one thing he got going for him is that he plays defense. He's a better defender than his brothers, and he's gonna bring it at that end, and that for sure is gonna that's what Tibbs like. You know what I mean? That's the culture that we're building anyway. So I just don't see it. I don't know if that's a fit. But if he comes in, hey, we got to see it play out and see what he looks like in a Knick uniform. But again, these are things that folks are talking about, and those are great points by Cornelius Thomas. You know what I mean? Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. Yeah. And who else they got there's talks on? I know there's a few folks that on.
There's also talks about Chris Paul.
Chris Paul.
And
you think
Chris
he would
Paul,
leave LA though? I mean, like
I don't
not
know.
LA. He's in Phoenix, but he's like close enough to LA with his family's there. You know what I mean? It's easy traveling.
I think it's tough to see Chris Paul leaving. I don't know, dude. I can't see him. It's very tough for me to see a guy who, has struggled to win an NBA championship, to be this close, join a brand new team and take them to the finals and possibly win the championship. It's hard for me to see him just walking away from them because I feel like he's in that Godfather role right now. You know what? Everybody is in love with Chris Paul. He's brought the city back. He's bringing them to the promised land. If they win it all, he's going to be like a god out there. Like, how do you walk away from that?
And I mean, he's a veteran, right? So I mean, he's already has that he's already helped build the culture there. You know what I mean? Like they're a young team. They were already building a good culture there, but he just
Right.
added a little bit more to that team. You know what I mean? And like you said, he's kind of like everyone's, older brother. You know what I'm saying? In the
Yeah.
sense, he's
Yeah.
got that older brother mentality. Like, hey, young, you talk to your young bro and you let them know like the ins and outs of the game and how to rest, how to protect yourself from injury, and how to stay, present and ready when your name is called. Look at the young kid who came in. I forget his name. He came in and he started shooting lights out in yesterday's game, but they just couldn't make the comeback. Like, but he brought him down to like three, I believe. Forget the kid's name. He got the big hair.
No, I know who
Uh,
you're talking about. I can't think of his name
yeah.
either.
Yeah, he
Um,
was shooting the
yeah.
three well. He was driving the basket, but like just that comes from veterans on the team. You know what I mean? Like stay ready, be ready, because when your name is called, you have to come up and you got to shine. And that kid did well. I'm sure he's going to have a lot more playing minutes the next game because of it. But that's what Chris Paul brings, and that's what I was saying earlier is like guys like a Mike Conley. Um, um, from Toronto,
Oh, Lowry.
Kyle
Kyle
Lowry,
Lowry.
yeah, veterans like that, I mean, they're gonna command some money, but they're not. But also, they give you time to develop a young point guard, right? That gives you a little bit more time to develop players like a Vildoza, who hasn't really seen the NBA action. I think his first crack is going to be against the USA team, right? So, um,
Mm-hmm.
to see somewhat of what the NBA looks like, and plays like. But I just think that if we go that route, that's not a bad idea for 1 or 2 year deal at the um, and then move forward. Unless we could find a gem, unless they know they have a gem, or we find a gem in the draft. You know what I mean? Because right now,
Right.
everyone believes quickly not to be a point guard, to be more of a shooting guard. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but then again, he could be trying to develop to become a point guard. Again, he's what, 6'3", 6'4", maybe. He's not that big of a player. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
He's not that tall.
yeah, and players like that are tough because you hit them you put them in a role of a combo guard. Sometimes they
Mm-hmm.
can or cannot defend the opposition, and there it comes a time where you want to be able to have the size to compete against teams like Milwaukee that are tall teams, big teams, Drew Holiday type point guards.
Right. Right.
So we'll see, man.
Yeah.
Again, I
No.
guess that may be our motto in this series. It's like we'll see what
We'll
comes up
see.
because it keeps coming up.
Yeah. No. That's true. True in so many aspects. Um, Going back to the chat, Chris Long had a couple different questions. One of the questions was, um, it's a good question actually. He said, "What is something we disagree on? The two of us disagree on when it comes to the Knicks."
Uh, I don't know. We don't generally disagree on a lot of stuff, right? Like we don't have that
No, man.
Stephen A.
Listen,
Max Kellerman friendship.
yeah, it's tough, man, because honestly, the only things that we ever really disagreed on, I think, during the season was the use. I think maybe the use of Quickly. Whereas you
Right.
still feel that Quickly
He
might
could
be
be a point
an
guard.
answer at the point guard. And I don't
Yeah.
think so. I think he's probably better suited at the shooting guard and learning how to really become a scoring shooting guard, and
Hmm.
taking that to the next level. I mean, he
Yeah.
might be able to do the point guard role and start learning how to facilitate better. I just noticed that his game went, you know, his ability to see the court seemed to start lacking the more the season went down. Like when he first came in to the league and the
Hmm.
Knicks started playing, he was doing all types of passes. We were like, yeah, no, this is what we need. He was getting guys
Hmm.
open. And as the year went
He,
on, he
he
started
had
to
the
miss people. He
Linsanity
wasn't even looking
moments.
at people. Yeah.
Linsanity. Let
He
it
wasn't even
fly. Let it
looking
fly.
anymore. I was
He
like,
was
oh
like
boy.
Toppin. Come on. I'm gonna take this on myself. No oop for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. I agree with you there. That's kind of where we disagree at. I think that he has the ability to grow into a point guard. I still do. That's why I keep saying it. Like, because it's gonna take him a few years before he really gets going and has a real understanding. Because when he was in Kentucky, he was sharing minutes, a lot of minutes with multiple point guards there, right?
right.
What did he play? 2 seasons there? 3 seasons? He played a couple of
I
seasons
think it
there.
was. I think it was two.
Two. And each year it was like he was up against like three other point guards, right? And he shared the court with Maxi is his name?
Uh, at one point, but then Maxi didn't.
That
Didn't
first
Max?
year,
Isn't
right?
Maxi 1 year ahead? Yeah, I think
But
Maxi
yeah,
came into
but
the.
that
I don't
first
know.
year, well,
Yeah,
either
yeah,
way,
yeah.
he had to pretty much share the point guard,
Right,
role in so many ways. And it's hard when you're not really taught to play the point guard position, right? You're kind of taught to be that
right,
shooting guard because he's a really good shooter and he hits 90% or 88, some high 80s, from the free throw line. And he has a knack to get, he has a knack to get to the free throw line. So that's tough. When you're looking at combo guards, you want a combo guard that can drive and can hit knockdown shots. But I think for his size, I'm a fan of taller teams. I'm a fan of teams that build themselves to be athletic and lengthy and be able to kind of handle the rock and shoot and be versatile in that way. Um,
right.
sort of similar to like the Spreewell Houston combination where you got guys who have size and could do it a little bit of everything. I like
Right.
that kind of team. You know what I mean? And that's very similar to what you see in the Hawks, right? They have
Yeah.
tall athletic players, shooters, scorers type, So I would like to see the Knicks do the same thing. But at quickly size, 6'4", for me, I'm like, if you got a 6'4" point guard, you're winning. You're winning because that's great, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen. If that's the route that they choose to work with him on this summer, and he comes into next year as trying to be more of a point guard type facilitator and play some shooting guard, I'm okay with that too. So either way, I'm happy as long as they focus on something with him. I don't think they need to don't at this point don't keep him in between because he
Mm-hmm.
could be too good of a shooter to be like, oh well, if we need him as a point guard, we'll throw him out there, or maybe we'll run him off the ball. No, he's got to focus on one of them, and then
Mm-hmm.
obviously, if something happens and he's in the game, it's kind of like what Alec Burks did. When
Mm-hmm.
people start getting hurt, Alec Burks had to run the point, and he's not really a
Good
traditional point
point.
guard. So
Right.
it all depends on the scenario, but
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to somebody like Chris Paul, I think that he might not be a fit that's going to work for the Knicks. I don't think he'll leave Phoenix. And even though he's still playing at a high level, I don't know if you want to tie that type of money up in him at this advanced age because let's not forget he was very injury prone at points in his career.
Mm-hmm.
And Father
Yeah.
Time catches up to you, you don't know. When it hits, it hits.
Listen, this in my opinion, this is a season to make his history, right? Like if he's able to get past Milwaukee, his legacy lives on forever. He becomes the Isaiah Thomas of this era. You know what I mean?
Right.
A guy who did it his way and made all the decisions, and the right way, and also, you
Mm-hmm.
know, kind of leaned to his family for guidance. He made sure that he put his family first and not anything other than that to make decisions because he had plenty of opportunities to go chase a ring and join his comrades, right? He could have
Right.
joined LeBron and D Wade, they're best of friends, right? He could have done it so many other ways. He could have joined Melo in the Knicks like earlier when they were when that would have been a nice combo, but he chose to stay close to family, and and do it his way and lead his own teams. It didn't work that well with the Clippers, but they were a top team. They were a playoff team. They made highlights. They were on ESPN almost every day with with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. So I mean, he has a knack to get other players involved, and so he's great to that in that sense. And
Right.
Booker's amazing. You know what I mean? And Ayton is playing great. And what's the other kid? The young kid. I always forget
The
his name.
point
The
guard, the
fast
backup
kid.
point
He
guard.
just yeah. Was it Page? Not Page.
Uh,
Man, I can't think of his name right now.
Man, now you
I'll
might.
see it. I'm like,
I think
wow.
I had it in my head, and I'm like, now I forgot, man. Come on.
Right. But they got Bridges. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know what
Oh,
the other kid's name, but
Payne.
they got
It's Payne.
Payne. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been a pain in the you know what to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah. No, he
But he's
definitely
good, man.
has. Yeah. I mean, well, we'll see what they do, because I'm not sure that those two options are going to work. The Dame Lillard and the Chris Paul thing. You've got a bunch of other lower level things that might happen. Lowry is a possibility still.
Right.
And I do like Lowry, although I just, I'm still on that thing. Like, if you could tell me that the Knicks can get two quality players or have a really solid player in Lowry, I don't know. I feel like the two quality players is better, because the Knicks have a couple
Mm-hmm.
different positions to fill. And like one of the things Chris said in the chat, he asked, what positions do we see that the Knicks need to upgrade at?
Yeah.
I personally
You keep
think
saying
that
point
they need to
guard.
upgrade point guard, man. Point guard. They gotta upgrade at point guard.
I just don't know if we know enough about what we have. You know what I mean? And that's why I say, depending on where we go, you say point guard. I'm thinking small forward and center as
Mm-hmm.
the prime positions, because I think Mitchell Robinson may be a lock at center, but we don't have depth, in the center position, and we don't have a
Right.
really solid three. Because to me, I look at Barrett at 6'6", 6'7" as a two guard, because he's more of a driver, right? Like, he likes to drive the lane, and he hit a good clip this year, so he's only going to get better. But if we can really lock in on a three, can you imagine if Knox had an opportunity to play and was really good at playing his role and could be the knockdown shooter and take it to the rim, similar to a Durant, what that would have been looked like this year? Like, that would have been amazing. But again, they have Toppin in that role, and Toppin isn't gotten to a place yet where I don't see it potentially happening for Toppin. I really think he's a 4. You know what I mean? And I know he's a New York kid, but I think if I were to say, if I was Leon Rose, I'm looking for trade bait for Toppin. Because if the decision is to keep Randall, there's no real place for Toppin to grow. You know what I mean? And I think that's the best asset to hand off to someone else, to another team, and move up in this draft. Because that's the asset I'm looking to move on from. I'm not looking to move on from RJ Barrett. And I know he's a New York kid. You wanted him to succeed in with the Knicks, but I just don't see him as a small forward. I don't see it. Maybe I don't know. Those who are watching, who are on the chat room, do you guys see Toppin as a fit as a three at the small forward position? Because he didn't show me enough.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hear you. I agree with you. I'm not sold that he's going to turn into something that is going to
At the
be
4, maybe.
what the Knicks need. I don't know. I don't know, man, because
Yeah.
honestly, when we drafted Toppin and his explosiveness and everything he could do in college, honestly, not all of us, but a lot of people saw Amari Stoudemire. That's what we thought we might be getting one day. And he is not going to be Amari Stoudemire. Stoudemire I'm respecting his game a lot more. I know how good he was and how much better he became with his little mid-range jumper. And he became like, he can get you 20 plus points a game every night. I don't know if Toppin can turn into that. I think that Toppin could probably turn into like a Corey Maggette, because Corey Maggette turned into a really good slasher and could score and put up some nice numbers. But he was
Corey
kind of
was a
limited.
3. But Corey was a
Yeah,
3.
that's what I'm saying. Like I could see Toppin maybe turning into that, and I'm okay
Really?
with that.
I don't see
But
that.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't see
Yeah,
that. I
you
see
don't
him as a
see his
4.
game turning. Yeah,
I really do see him as a Stoudemire 4. Remember, Stoudemire was an undersized center with
right.
Phoenix at the time. You know what I mean? And because they played so fast paced, they were able to have him interchange between center and forward. I don't necessarily. I see more of that role in Toppin. He's what 6'8". You know, Stoudemire was 6'10". That's
Yeah,
the difference.
yeah,
The difference is that Stoudemire had the size, where Toppin doesn't necessarily have the size. He has the athleticism, but again, can he build? I don't think his handle is strong enough yet. If he turned around tomorrow and build like a magical handle, you get what I'm saying? Then I could see it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Then he could be a Corey Maggette type, but I don't see that. Like Corey had a bit of swag to his game. You know what I mean?
No, he did. No. Corey was
He
uber
had
athletic
handle.
and he was
Yeah,
smooth. Yeah, I know.
yeah. I
Um,
don't see that in
the
Toppin.
only
He's
thing
very mechanical.
I do worry about that with Toppin because the problem with Toppin is, the other thing, one of his knocks, but also people looked at it as a plus, is that he's older. He's like 23, 24, and
You ain't gonna find
it's
handles
a
at
lot.
24.
Exactly. He said it.
It's
That's
not gonna
exactly
happen.
what I was thinking, man. I don't
It's
know.
not gonna happen. It's like
Yeah,
getting that young kid who's the tallest in the neighborhood, and you want him turn him into a point guard, and he just ain't got it. He ain't got the right
yeah,
footwork. He's just like
yeah.
it's like, hey, you got to work on that, and it's gonna take years. And you look like a guy. Well, Kevin Durant, was Kevin Durant always that tall? I don't know. I don't remember if he talked about that being like the tallest player and not actually
Yeah, I'm
having
not
him play.
sure. Yeah,
He may have played point guard and then grew, to that size later on. But that's what it is. Like, especially
yeah,
for like Anthony Davis, he would say he was never the tallest kid on the court. He was kind of one of the short ones, and he just grew. He had the growth spurt. But I don't see
right.
that in Toppin. I don't see him, catching on to that skill. He may be able to do like a few jab moves and then go, because he may be quick. But I don't really see him having the stop and go movement and being able to like give somebody a hezzy and cross them and then pull back for a 3. I don't see that. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I mean, I hear you. In the chat, Naruto Goku says if the Knicks plan on keeping Julius, then they have to trade Toppin.
Hold on.
And
That's a dope name. That's a dope name. Just shout
shout out
outs
to
for that name.
Naruto
That's a
Goku.
dope name. Okay. I hear
Yeah,
that.
like I mean, he's not wrong. So that is the sentiment of some people. They do think that these two guys are not going to be able to exist because what you drafted Toppin for, you're not getting currently, and then what you
Mhm.
getting from Randall you didn't expect, and he's blossoming
Mhm.
into this whole bigger thing. It makes sense that the two of them may not be able to coexist. This is true.
Yeah. Yeah. And Randall right now is beloved, right? He's the one right now.
Yeah,
He's the Black Messiah. So, with that
yeah.
said, I don't
He's like Loaded
think
Lux right now. Ah, beloved.
yeah, exactly. So I don't see Leon Rose moving away from that. You know what I mean? Because at this point he sees that there may be a gem there. He's 7 now, 26. Randall. He's at his prime.
27, yeah, 27,
He's hitting
28.
his
He's one
prime.
of
These are
those.
his
Yeah.
prime years, right? So if you take that into consideration, you just really have to build around him and Barrett and hope that you get a full season for Mitchell Robinson, who's only going to grow because he's also very young, right? And that
Right.
becomes your core. You know what I mean? With under the tutelage of Rose, that becomes your core. Rose and Burks and those guys, they become like the veterans on the team. That kind of motivate the rest of them. And I think if you move away from Toppin, and let's say you throw in a couple of draft picks, and maybe someone wants to, take on a Franklin Lakina if he does well during these games, or a Knox if they want to kind of, you know, uh, I don't know if they want a project, you know what I'm saying, and they want to build it some kid up, then they could take a Knox. But I don't necessarily see the move. I could see him moving away from Toppin and not from Randall. I just don't see that. That'll surprise me. That'll surprise me
Yeah.
if draft day comes and they're like, "There's a trade, Randall's moving." I'll be like, "What?" I'll bug out.
I don't even know how I'd feel about that, man. I
would bug out.
I'd be like shook. Like, what you guys doing, man? Like, no. Well, I mean, now, if they did something crazy, right? Say they traded Randall and they came back with Dame Lillard, and you keep RJ, and you figure out a way to bring in another big piece and switch everything around, all the variables. Maybe. I don't know. They would have to do something like that.
Randall wouldn't be mad at that. Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
if you move for Randall, will be like, I understand. It's Lillard. It's Dame. It's like what that's understandable. But can you really see that happening? They have a bunch of power forwards and small forwards there. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
they got Melo there.
I mean,
plays similar position.
No, that's very true. So. That's very true. So wait, hold on. In the chat, Alan Taylor said he still agrees with Lamar Odom, who said the Knicks need a player from New York to rep New York and ambassador. So you saying you like
ambassador for New York?
So is that what you're saying? You saying you like Obi Toppin? You want to keep him on the team?
Because it's cool to have an ambassador, but what does that do? We have an ambassador. We have Taj Gibson. He's the ambassador to New York.
Taj,
you know what I mean?
He's the New York, born and raised. Yeah,
you know what I mean. And he's that veteran presence that we need on the bench. What I don't want to see is having to play Taj Gibson heavy minutes next year. That's why I say what I say, because we don't have depth in the center position, power forward position either. If we look for a center, then that alleviates time for Nerlens Noel can then play his natural position, which is a power forward position behind Randall. You know what I mean? And then Taj will be the number 3 guy on the center position and in the power position, just in case someone gets injured. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
But right now we're light.
No, we are. We are lacking size. We are lacking size.
But just light and depth too, though. Like we got
that's another thing. Yeah. We're guard heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And not necessarily in a good way. Because some guards aren't doing anything for us. So
they don't play.
They're just taking space. Yeah. What? So yes, Alan, he is really from New York.
Who's that? What did he say?
Alan said, is he really from New York? Taj, yeah.
Taj is from Bed-Stuy. Do or die.
Do or die, baby.
4 greenhouses, right? 4 greenhouses. He's from Fort Greene. Yeah, but he's definitely Brooklyn. Yeah. He's Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah. He reps.
And his dad was a New York fan, like a Knicks fan growing up, and so was he growing up. So I don't see him ever going, and just pulling the Brooklyn card and saying I'm repping Brooklyn. I think he's reps Brooklyn, but he's always going to be a New York Knick.
Right. And plus he loves New York, and he built that basketball court and that center in New York. He likes to give back to his hometown. So yeah, I like him a lot, man. I'm glad we got him on the team. And he you're right, Alan. We have been playing forwards as centers in the past for many years. That's a problem, but that's always been a problem for the Knicks. That's an issue, always. Right. So what you're saying is right, John. We do need depth, and we need size, and we need some weight too. We need a big man who's a big man. You know what I mean? Yeah. These
Push
guys
some
need
people
to bang
around
with these other dudes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey, yo. Hey,
pause. Hey.
But I get what you mean, man. We need some size. We need some. It's like I don't know if we're ever gonna get to a point where you have like an AD's team, right? You get a team that's like loaded with all of these, power forwards at 6'10", 6'11", who are just there to beat you up. You know what I mean? I don't think we're ever gonna get back to that. But I think if you get some 7-footers and you get some size, maybe a 6'9", 6'10" guys who can rebound the ball and kind of be sort of a defender of sorts, you know, someone who could protect the rim, then you have the ability to play tall. You know what I mean? And we just need shooters around those guys, right? And that's what we lack too.
Yeah.
We lack size and we lack shooters. You know, we don't. You know, Bullock was supposed to be a shooter. He was all right. He was all right. He was definitely our best defender. I'll give him that. But as far as, you know, what I like to see, I don't know. I wouldn't say he was the guy.
I mean, it's a very open-ended book right now as to what they're going to do in free agency. There's so many different options. We don't know where it's going to go. But what we do know is that if the draft, you know, is one of those where we have a chance to move up, there's certain guys that I don't know everything about all of these draft picks. Right. I know I've done a little bit more research with it than you have currently, but some of these guys
I ain't started my draft yet. I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't gotten, you know.
No judgment, man. No judgment.
Yeah, you know,
it's
I'm gonna get there.
We still got time. Yeah. It's okay. I mean, some of these guys that they're predicting might go to the Knicks, I don't love. Like, for example, they're predicting Sharif Cooper, who is, you know,
where does he play?
Sharif Cooper is currently. Hold on, I don't want to butcher it.
Right. Where does he play and what size? What's his height? What is his?
He's 6'1".
Point guard.
He plays for Auburn.
Okay.
And yeah, he's a point guard.
Ain't that like a Jared Harper? That's Jared Harper.
That's the thing.
Jared Harper, you know.
He might be the best facilitator, they say, in the draft because he averages around 8 assists a game. However, he is not a fantastic shooter. He shot 28% from 3, but he has good form. And the oxymoron with him is, even though he shot 28% from 3, he shot 80-something% from the line. Weird.
Right. But not really. I mean, the 3-point line is a lot further.
I guess, but I mean, just
the free throw shots, it's a set shot, right? There's no elevation. So I think.
Oh, and actually, that's a good point. He doesn't elevate when he shoots. He shoots
threes
style. Yeah,
when he shoots threes. Oh, hell
yeah.
No. I'm good. Keep him where he's at. I'm good. No.
So you're saying a 6'1" ball player that doesn't jump is not necessarily a good thing?
No. You got not in the NBA. You gotta get off the floor when you're shooting a 3. Nah, I'm not with that. I'm gonna see a lot of major blocks and I'm good.
Yeah, no, and that's his problem. Plus, he has problems getting into the lane because his shot gets blocked. Like,
that's the point.
So that's the thing. He's versatile because he's got moves and he's really skillful and he's got great court vision. But I don't think that's basically you telling me
bring him to the N1 tournament.
Yeah, you know what that is? That's like getting a young Alfred Payton.
Yeah, undersized Alfred Payton. But Alfred's 6'5".
Undersized at that. Yeah. I don't know. So I don't
Alfred
love that.
At least could go to the block and get to the basket.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Come on. Nah, I'm not feeling that at all. I don't even have to see the kid. I'm good.
No, I don't dig it. Personally, I'm happier with if the Knicks have a chance to move up in the draft and get somewhere into, I don't know, 11, 10, something like that. Maybe they have to move up a little higher. I don't know. To get maybe a kid like Davion Mitchell, who I've mentioned in the past. You know, we got some video on Davion Mitchell. He's one of those.
What's Davion? Davion's a point guard too, right?
He's a point guard from Baylor.
Right.
You know, the Baylor green and yellow.
Right.
And he's one of those kind of players. He's got an explosive first step. He's a
Lowry type. Right.
Thank you. I was just gonna say he's like a Lowry. So
yeah, I caught like I caught one of their games in the.
Mm.
They made the dance, right?
Yeah. They
They
played.
made a 16. Did they make the
I don't
16?
know.
Baylor?
I don't know if they made 16 though. I didn't watch.
Yeah,
I didn't
I think I
watch
caught
too
one of those
much, to be
games. Yeah,
honest.
yeah, yeah. Kid's strong. He's strong. He's stocky build. He's So what do
Yeah,
you
he's
think
he's.
about him? Like, what do you think?
I think he personally is a player that if you're looking for that type of gritty, facilitator, good defender type player, he's like I would say you would hope he can turn into a Lowry, but
Hmm.
I wouldn't be mad if he just turned into a Marcus Smart.
Right, right,
You
right, right,
know,
right.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I could see him like a Marcus Smart, maybe a little better
What's his
scorer.
size? What's his size? Is he like 6'4", 6'5"?
His size, I think he might be 6'4", but he could be 6'5".
Because you could
Give
also
me
like look at someone like Drew Holiday, who we're watching now play. You know what I mean? If he got that sort of versatile skill,
actually no, he's 6'2",
6'2". So he's
but
not. Yeah, so that's a definite Kyle
he's
Lowry.
more.
Because
Yeah, he's definitely like a college. Yeah, he's 205 pounds, so he got a little weight on him. You can't push him
what do
around.
you think Kyle Lowry weighs?
right,
Come on,
right. Yeah, no, you're
he
right.
up
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
You
Yeah,
know. Hey, I like
he's the
some
type
cupcakes too, but bruh, come on.
that. Yeah, he hopefully would be able to maintain that weight and not start to fill out too much. Maintain
Right,
and be athletic. But he could be a difference maker. Um,
right.
I don't know if he'll even be in the Knicks radar. Because anything could happen with him. A lot of
Hmm.
people are high on him. He might go earlier than projected too.
Okay.
So we'll see.
But look, if you get a
So
chance at move it up, if but they have to be able to move up before he's even a question, right? They would have to try to get it into the top 10 in order to get a kid like this, you know. So
mhm.
this is definitely a wait
Yeah,
and see, Ron. this is
this is a wait and see. You're
that's a
right.
wait and see.
You ain't wrong on that. This is definitely a wait and see. Uh, Looking at the chat, looks like Cornelius Thomas says we need to address this. He's got a problem with Tibbs, so
Oh, okay.
uh, uh, he's got to make adjustments to having small ball lineup.
Wait a minute. I'm not sure where that go. Where's he going with that one? He
So
has to make adjustments to making small ball lineups, meaning against
yeah,
or
so
playing
I think what he's basically saying is learning how to play, against small ball
against.
lineups. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, they did a good
Um,
job against the Warriors when they played them. That was a small
yeah,
lineup.
yeah, they weren't bad against the
They weren't
Warriors.
bad.
Um, and is Sacramento a small ball team?
I would say so. But Sacramento, kind of run amok a little bit. Darian Fox was
That's what
like,
I'm saying. Like, and
yeah, yeah,
that was a team that gave us a little trouble.
yeah,
The
yeah, yeah,
speed up and down the court, like with
for
Fox, was
sure,
just crazy.
for
Um,
sure.
so yeah, and
But
and
again,
I
who
guess
do we have as defenders on that team, right? Like Burks is not a defender, right? He's a good player. But he's not a defender. And then we really only have Bullocks to defend any speed or any players. And Derrick Rose did his best impression of a young Derrick Rose, where he started showing
right.
some athleticism to defend. But other than the two of them, no one else was really a good defender. And we didn't have Mitchell Robinson for mostly like a quarter of the season, especially the back end of the season. So
Hmm.
we had no role. I mean, well, I wouldn't say that because Nerlens Noel was a rim protector. I would say he did a really awesome job filling in, but there wasn't like a presence there where I would say a rebounding presence, where you're
Right.
not giving up second, third opportunities to these fast teams or letting them get out on the break. We don't really have that kind of team that could defend the fast break like that. I don't know.
Yeah. No, you're right. I
I
mean
I would have
that's
to agree with them that that's
yeah,
a
that's a
it's an
that's a little bit of a
inability.
struggle. And the other thing
That
is,
is.
he mentioned something before because I remember he had mentioned that especially when the Knicks played the Hawks, he wanted
Hmm.
Tibbs to switch things up and put Randall at the five and run things that way and let Randall take uh who's their center on the Hawks that blocks the shots?
Um, Capella, Clint
Capella.
Capella.
Yeah, he wanted
Hmm.
to be able to bring Capella off the block and Randall bring him out to the perimeter because that would open up the lane for the rest of the Knicks. Like those were certain things that he mentioned that he wanted Tibbs to kind of institute so you can move.
Hmm.
There would be more ball movement and more flow to the offense that wasn't working at all because they had no offense.
Right. No, I agree. I
So
agree. Again, you know, we kind of live and die off of kind of Tibbs' methodology, right? Where he
right,
has a system, he runs the system to death. He does the pick and roll, which is a part of his system. But um, you know, a lot of his one-on-one, that's a part of the way he coaches. He has the one-on-one, like let his player go at their best defender, and then make them orchestrate. Allow them to facilitate and make the right play. That doesn't always work. Especially against a good team, defensive team. So I mean, if Tibbs, I like Tibbs, but if Tibbs doesn't learn from those mistakes or doesn't learn how to adapt, we may be a one and done, every year, make the playoffs and then we lose first round. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
again, that's on Leon Rose and those folks to decide whether they had enough of that. I mean, we have a
right,
young
right.
man waiting in the wings, right? So we have a young
Hmm.
coach waiting in the wings who's getting all of the tutelage right now on the Tibbs. Maybe he's the next upcoming, coach of this team, and maybe he brings some variety there. Who knows?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I
But
mean,
yeah,
one of the things
Cornelius
that
made some good
I
points
was
there.
yeah, I agree. One of the things that I was thinking about is, uh, if the Knicks somehow say they don't address the point guard spot in the draft, and
Hmm.
they find a way to get somebody to help them through free agency, or even a trade like for maybe somebody like a Malcolm Brogdon, who I would love, by the way. I'm just saying, that would be great.
That would be awesome.
Okay,
I like a
so,
Mark.
but if
I
that
like a
was,
Brogdon.
yeah, right, that would be a nice look.
Hmm.
Now, if that were to happen, and say they don't have to focus on getting a point guard with the first pick in the draft, whatever they do, trade up or what have you. I'd love for them to go for somebody who can really shoot the rock. And my guy for that would be Mr. Corey Kispert. Corey
Okay.
Kispert is a gunslinger. That
Hmm.
dude shoots the rock.
Hmm.
I
Right.
really like his game.
Right.
And we've
I
got
think
we've
we
got
showed some of his
some
highlights a
video.
little earlier, right? So
Yeah,
we're gonna play that
yeah,
one
we've got
again.
some video on Corey Kispert. He's just a
Okay.
pure shooter. Um,
Right.
and the thing about him is, I wouldn't say necessarily an equal comp, but he's very similar to McDermott.
Okay.
Because we had McDermott for a while with the Knicks, but McDermott's become a better player with the Pacers. He's similar to that. Um, that he can stretch the floor and he can drive. He's just he's a knockdown shooter, and he's
What is he? A
probably they
shooting
say
guard?
he's the best.
What is 6'4"?
He's a small forward, and they say he's the
At
best
what?
shooter in
Six
the.
four?
No, he's 6'7".
Is he 6'7"? Okay.
Yeah, he's 6'7". Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Hey, when they say yeah,
so
he's a knockdown shooter and he's 6'4", and it's
yeah,
like, okay, where do we put him? Where do
yeah,
we
yeah,
put
yeah.
him?
No, no. He's actually got
6'7".
some
That's a good
size.
size. Right.
Gonzaga's known for getting those guys, those guys that have length and can shoot the ball.
Right.
Although
Yeah.
they
No,
did
you
have
need
that
that.
one guy, that didn't work out. I forgot his name with all
Who's
the
that?
hair. Oh man,
For what
Ugh.
team?
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga. Played this year?
Yeah. No, 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 no.
Talking
This
about
was in
that.
the past.
Oh, yeah. I can't. No, I don't really follow the college game like that.
I know somebody in the chat might know who it is. If you're in the chat and you know who that guy is who used to play for Gonzaga, who was a star player at Gonzaga, he led the nation in scoring. Then he came into the league and was a bust. If you
You're
remember
not talking
his
about
name,
that kid that went to the Lakers. Did he go to the Lakers at one time with
uh,
the long hair? You talking about that
what's
kid?
yeah, he had long hair. Yeah, I don't know if he was he on the Lakers?
Was it Morrison? Some Morrison?
Morrison, that's him. Adam
Was it
Morrison.
Morrison? Adam
It was
Morrison.
Adam
Was that
Morrison.
he?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was him. Yeah. He was a stud in college, but he came to the NBA and it was all over, man.
He
I
had
don't
the
know.
pimp mustache. He had that
Yeah.
70s.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That was him, man. I couldn't believe it. I was like, yo, how can you be so good in college and then NBA your game don't translate? It was wild.
Well, he was horrible defensively. He had
Yeah,
no
that's
defensive
true.
presence. That's what I hope when I mean what did there was something I watched the other day. What did I watch the other day? It was an interview by it was Barkley. He was like he would crack up all the time because Larry Bird was the first person, right, that he ever played with, especially white person that he ever played with, to say, "Don't. It's disrespectful to put a white person on me because they can't guard me." So, and then Jordan was the other person who would say that to him, and Barkley was like the only other
Oh,
person who would ever tell him that was Michael Jordan. He was like, "Don't be disrespectful. Take the white guy off of me because he can't guard me." Yeah, I was rolling. I
yo,
was like,
man,
"Yo, that's
that's crazy.
hilarious, man." But coming from Larry Bird, don't ever put another white boy on me. He cannot guard me. Sorry, Chris Mullin. And Chris was my
Yeah.
guy. But yeah,
Well, there was a couple of those guys that were pretty good, like that left shrimp.
that left shrimp. Yeah, but
He,
they were
he
slow
got
footed.
busy. No,
Yeah,
they're slow
not
footed.
not
Yeah.
defensively though. Yeah, not defensively.
No,
You know,
no, but
unfortunately, the
yeah,
Dirks of the world. They
yeah,
can do it. They can do a little bit of everything. Defense is not their forte.
that's
But
correct.
that shit was funny
Well, I
when I
mean,
heard that.
it's going to definitely be a wait and see approach. We're going to see what happens, what they decide to do. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully they figure out the best way to do this so that it doesn't hurt them. For the first time in a long time, the Knicks have front office has had like a steady, spurt. Like I don't know. I guess you could say it's maybe 2 years, 2.5 years of making solid decisions. 2 years, let's say 2 years of making solid decisions.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to give them too much time because
It's
you start
tough.
creeping
That's
into
tough
some
to
bad
say
stuff.
because they got rid of their president,
Yeah,
their GM,
yeah.
So I don't know.
So I want to say 2 years of making some really good decisions. They
I'll
they
give
kind
them.
of
I'll give them
they
the
try to
COVID year. I'll
yeah
give them. They did
yeah
well during COVID.
they did try to get cute. They tried to get cute last draft, and
Hmm.
it wound up backfiring a little bit on them. But they still wound up with quickly. They could have got quickly, maybe a little later, but it worked out.
Right, but they got good. They
So I'm
got
hoping.
decent picks. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
projected
No,
Toppin to be a top 10 guy. So, he went down to 8, and we scooped him up. I mean, I literally thought Toppin was like 6'10", 6'11". I was like, hell yeah, but no, 6'8". I was like, oh shit, what are we doing?
it's okay though. It's okay. You live and you learn, and like you said, hopefully he figures it out. If not, he's still an asset. Some team might be able to get him and develop him, and he becomes a really good piece for their organization. So we'll see
Right.
what happens, man. But I'm hoping that the next set of things that take place, with the Knicks are all positive, and by the time the draft happens, maybe there's some good news. Maybe the Knicks have already got a couple players on the team that can help. Because I don't know when the actual offseason free agency starts. I got to look
You
that
know
up.
me, I haven't looked that up. I haven't had the chance to look that up, nor I don't think we're even close to that yet. I think we have to. Well, the draft picks have already been selected, but when is the actual draft?
So I just got my answer to the question,
Hmm.
and that makes sense. So the free agency start date is August 2nd.
Okay. So we're about a couple of 3 weeks away, 2 weeks away.
Right.
Well, we're
And
in
the NBA
12th?
draft is July. The NBA draft is July 29th. So in essence,
So
you
it's
got
the
to
end.
basically make your trades before, if you want to try to move up or do something, you got to do it before.
Okay.
So we'll see.
What am I waiting for? I definitely got to get on my game. It's July 29th. Oh,
Yeah.
man. I got 2 weeks to do some research. Okay. Tune in next week. It's going to be a whole bunch of information now.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to drop
And
down
actually,
at least. I'm going to pick like 3 or 4 guys to see what we could do with them.
Actually, I'm looking forward to that because I know, Nothing But Knicks and Simeon Russell, he's doing something where he's putting together an event. He's going to have his live podcast event, and they're going to be, having like a draft party. So it should be pretty cool. And I'll actually be in attendance for that. So that'll be pretty cool to be there. Yeah, that'll be nice to be there with him and other Knick YouTube creators will be there as well. So it should be pretty fun.
That's dope. Well, listen, give them my best, man. Give me a shout out there if you get on. You know what I mean? Just say what up to them. We love their shows anyway. So shout outs to all of them, all of the Knick creators. Blue and Orange Tears. What's the other ones? There's Legion of Knicks and
Legion of Knicks. Yep. I'm wondering if I don't know if
KnicksFanTv. Man. There's a lot of them out there. It's some great stuff. What's the one? Tray and
oh yeah. Oh man.
I like horrible. The mother and son duo. I forget.
Yeah.
Tray.
And I can't remember that.
But anyway, they're all great. They're all awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So looking forward to that. Have fun, men network, and enjoy that, man. And he's having it on draft day, on the 29th.
Correct. On draft day, it's going to be a draft party,
okay.
Like a meet and greet type thing, and also his live podcast. So it should be pretty cool.
Dope. Well, I know then that we won't be meeting up that week, I'm sure, because you'll be heading out to Atlantic City.
That is true.
So next week we'll come back on. Hopefully we'll have a Knicks fan on, you know what I mean, to join us. Those of you who are watching, if you would like to join us on the live stream podcast, hit us up. Hit us up on the gram. Hit us up on Twitter at Still Knicks Fans. Also, if you want to send us an email, stillknicksfans at gmail.com. Let us know. We plan to come on next Monday, same time, if that's possible. 8:10 is our start. So let us know if you're down to come on and talk basketball and Knicks with us. That would be awesome. I got this.
Yeah, that would be great.
Came in the crib. It literally just said,
like, yeah, that's a sign.
He wanted to be on the podcast.
Yeah, you just gave the invitation. He's like, okay.
I know. I'm here.
Well, thanks once again, brother. It's always a pleasure to chop it up with you and talk about our Knicks, man. I'm just excited because I know that good things are going to be happening soon. We're getting closer to seeing something exciting. So,
right.
Hopefully the momentum that we've been having for the last year or so keeps going and something positive comes out of all of this, man. So thanks again.
Dope.
Thank you guys for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. As John said, like, subscribe, reach out to us on Twitter or
tell a
on
friend.
Instagram. Yeah. Tell a friend and tell that friend to tell their friend.
Facts.
All right. Thanks for tuning in once again. We'll see you on the next one. We out of here.
All right, y'all. Peace.
It's a litmus test just to see who's best. Roll the dice, break the pipe, and let's see who's next. Ron and Jon on the mic, talking New York Knicks. We be rooting and recruiting for the boot camp click. Take a step back.